Alright, so next I'm thinking about putting together the assembly here, this rod that goes through with the lever on the front that switches the actual speeds. And I can actually put together this bottom part with the rod and these two bottom caps, and I can do all that and not have to worry about even putting these rods in, because they can be loaded from the top, these top caps that come off here. I can just take the poles, those barber pole kind of shaped pieces out, spin them as I need to. So that's why I want to put this together. And the thing that's bothering me is this is clearly an oil cup. Now there's a metal spike sticking up in the middle here. I'm wondering if that metal spike had to do with holding some sort of a sponge or felt or something in here. This, I can feel that this is loose and free, but this one right here is a little stiff. Now, in order for me to take this out and clean it and put it back in there, I can't get this bevel gear out unless I take this gear out, and I can't take this gear out unless I remove the shaft by the looks of it, which looks like it's press fit into here. I think I had talked about this a while back that I really didn't want to mess with that. I mean, it's not so stiff that I can't turn it with my fingers. It's just not real free. But I'm thinking I'll put a couple drops of oil in here and see how it is. And then the other problem I don't like about this is when my question is, how are you supposed to put the oil in this when this is installed? Because this goes up into here like this. And I know that this has got to be the front one, because this has got the pulley right here for the chain to run on for the counterweight system. So I know this one goes up and faces this way. I know this is how this goes in. So I could see clearly that the cup in question will be right about here. There's no hole whatsoever or opening anywhere here that would facilitate loading this with oil. In other words, when this is vertical on top of the column, it would be nice if there was a hole right there that I could just squirt oil into and it would fall into that cup. Nothing there. So I do know that this bottom right here is wide open, and the only thing that's in the way is the shaft in the middle. But I'm thinking maybe there's just enough room to snake an oiler past. So I think the idea is that I gotta basically stick an oiler up in here on this side right here and squirt a little oil in that way, I guess. I mean, I could drill a hole in the casting right here, but I really don't want to do that because there wasn't one there to begin with. But for right now, let's just see whether or not putting a little oil on that will free this up. Yeah, that's it. That's all it took. Didn't take much at all. Just a couple drops of Marvel's Mystery Oil. And that is free as a bird now. Alright, so. Alright, good. So I don't have to take that apart. This has got a keyed slot, so I think how do I want to attack this? I think I want to screw this one on first. These are pretty thick, these units. See how thick that is compared to some of the other caps? So that tells me of the screws I have left, I'm pretty sure I want to use the longer ones. I only have 2 sizes of screws left in here. Okay, so now got that in. The Next thing I think I need to do is I need to run this rod in. So there's one of the woodruff keys goes in here and the other one goes in on the end. So I think I want to run this rod in through that first one. And the trick is, I obviously can't run this all the way in because I've got the other cap off over here. So what I gotta do is I gotta get this cap on. This one's completely free. I'll still put the little drop of oil on there anyways. This one, I know that the cup has to, that this has to be on the bottom. So that's interesting because that's going to make this one even harder to oil. That's the darndest thing. That's in there like that. How the hell are you supposed to oil that one? I guess if you take out the pole from the top here, I might be able to stick a precision oiling tube down in there and oil it that way. I can barely get my finger on there. That's going to be a hoot. The only thing funnier than that is figuring out how I'm going to get this to go in here. Oh, I see. This I can keep loose a little bit. This is going to be a... Okay, I can look through here and I can see what I need to see there. Alright. What I gotta do is make sure all these things are lined up perfectly. To make my life easier, because I've got this on its side this way, I'm going to turn this so that this is facing, keyway is facing up this way. That way, when I put the woodruff keys in here, I don't have to worry about them falling out, although I got a feeling they're going to be kind of a tight fit in there anyways. So if I put this in here like this, I think I'll just put one screw in that one for now, just in case I have trouble putting this together. Here's my woodruff keys. Need to clean these up. Alright, cleaned up these woodruff keys. So the first one I've got to put in through this opening right here. And of course they've got to be straight, because if they're cocked a little bit, then you won't get them to go into the keyway. I'll use these duckbill pliers to adjust them a little bit. Doesn't look too bad. Alright. Now, I'm going to get the other one in right here. Try to back this up for a second. Get this here. There you go. Let's see if it's going. It looks like it's seating further than this one. Yeah, I don't think this one's in right. Alright, now I can see that this is not rotated where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to reach in here and turn the gear. I want this one facing straight up just like the other one. There we go. Now slide this in, and the trick is to get that one in it needs to go, and at the same time, simultaneously, I'm trying to get this front one in. That one started, and so is this one. Now, I was wondering how far this is supposed to go in, because the interesting thing is right now, that is only halfway in, but this almost like bearing surface here is flush in the front. Oh, well, this definitely goes in a little further because this bolts on the front here. And this has a little part that sticks into that. Matter of fact, why not screw that on? Make sure that's on right. Yep. That one's in almost all the way, as is this one. I think that's about right there. It really can't go in any further because this lever goes on here. It's interesting that this lever is not keyed to this taper. This is supposed to be just a friction fit. That, to me, seems like it would be problematic. Tell you what, this doesn't turn easily. Theoretically, this should be able to just keep turning and turning and turning. I've got paint and primer on this metal surface inside here, and I'm thinking I need to get that off of there. If this is just going to be a friction fit pressed on here, I expect it to hold it all. I think I need this to be clean metal. Okay, so cleaning this out, I was hoping I had a wire brush, a small one that would fit on my Dremel tool, but one I have is pretty trashed. I'm more likely for the bezel on it to end up just scratching the heck out of this, so I'm just going to use a little strip of sandpaper, and I just put that into a cone and run it through like this. Well, judging by the gray, it's, oh yeah, that's somewhat working. Alright, let's try this again. Well, that's working better. Oh, almost there. Ah, finally got it all off. Alright, just cleaned up this nut on the wire wheel. Let's see whether or not we can make this work. Shouldn't matter where I put this lever, for now anyways, because the synchronization and the aligning up so that when I put it on 1/2 inch it's the highest speed, and when I put it on 1/8 inch it's at the lowest speed, that all has to do with the position of where I'm going to have those sheaves, or those belt shippers, riding on those posts, which I can adjust that later. The whole idea of what to hold onto while I'm trying to tighten this is kind of weird. Wish they had maybe just put a couple of flats on this rod somewhere so they could grab it with a wrench. I'm scratching this up with the teeth on the channel locks there. I'm not thrilled about that because if I need to take this out again later, it's going to run through, well actually this section here has to run through this giant hole, so that's not really an issue. Alright, never mind. Let me get a little pipe wrench. I had a pipe wrench even smaller than this one, but I can't find it at the moment. Not a very big nut, but I definitely want to make sure that's plenty tight so that it doesn't want to slip on that taper. Alright, well this is working, but it's still not right here. I'll show you why. On this front speed selecting dial, there are these dimples right here. And I think that by design, that back of the knob right here, that is supposed to click in to keep it kind of like in that position, so that it can't just kind of like be wandering around here. And that's not happening. And this can't go on to there any further, so this whole shaft seems like it's supposed to be going in even further. And I'm wondering if that explains why the keyway right there is not going in all the way. If you can see that, if it's going to focus on that. Let me get the light in there. There you go. See it? Something's not right. Well, what if we gave it a love tap? Moved in a little bit and got a lot smoother to move, but it's still not clicking in anywhere like I thought it should. You know what would work? Well, that just worked right there. Just push this in, now it's locked in. And then when you shift it, it comes back out. So I guess you're supposed to push in on it, maybe to make sure it stays in that spot. Seems crazy. What I was going to say was I could put a washer behind this plate before I screw it on. Stick this plate out a little further. But then I remembered that this plate actually, the back of this plate, has a part that protrudes out that actually sticks into this hole, so that wouldn't work. That wouldn't make sense to do that. No, it definitely should be that this rod should. What's keeping me from tapping it in any further right now, I think, is actually the lever being on here. I wonder if I should take. No, that doesn't make sense either. Just debating whether or not I should take the handle off, tap the shaft in further, and then screw the handle back on. But when I go to screw the handle back on, that should have the effect of pulling that shaft back out. It's in almost all the way now. This is like just a tiny bit that it's not in. That's going to scratch the heck out of my paint over here. I think maybe I should just not worry about this not snapping into these detents just yet. I should wait until I get it all up and running and see whether or not that's even going to be an issue. I don't know. For some reason I think it's going to be. Now, one of my two belt shippers has a tab broken off that I have to deal with. But this one is still intact. So technically I could put this one in. So what I meant before about how I don't have to worry about putting this together and not having it all lined up is because basically I can rotate this to whatever position I want it to be in and then drop it down in and have it mesh with the teeth down there. So for starters though, got to get let's see, this would have to go, I'm not sure if I got this correct. This could go this way, or it could go this way. I actually don't remember. I might have to actually go back and look at some video to figure this out. Let's see, if this was all the way at the bottom, like that, does that correspond with where that pulley's going to be? I don't know, because it's not in there now. Well, this doesn't seem right, because if this is all the way at one position on the handle and I have it come all the way down to here, what happens is this hits here before this can reach all the way over to the other position. So I think I've got this on wrong. Now I know that the square rod goes right here, so it can only go either this way, which I have right now, or I flip it end over end, which I think is the way it was on here when I just took it from over there, and I may have kept these together correctly just for that reason. Then, since the square rod's here, this has to be like this, so then the belt shipping actually happens on this side, which I'm not sure about either, but let's just see whether or not this works more advantageously. Alright, so that right there is all the way into one position and it's bottomed out right there. And now if I want to come all the way up, will it let me? Sure looks like it. I think we get a winner. So now we've got a square rod that goes in there. Here they are. Oh, which I haven't even cleaned up yet. Yeah, these need some serious attention. I think I'm going to stop here tonight because this has a lot of dried petrified grease on it. Clean some of that off with some solvent, only to find underneath some rust and some paint. And I just tried using my wire wheel, and it's kind of hard to use this to clean this on my wire wheel, because my grinder over there, I've got the grinding wheel on one side with a rest and the guard, and the other side was missing the guard when I bought that, no rest either. So I'm kind of holding it freehand, and it's a little grabby, and it's taken a long time. And I know that if I take this outside and use my angle grinder with a bristle disc, these will probably clean right up real quick, come out a lot better. So I'm going to do that next time I work on it, when I have some time during the day. Let's throw this in here just temporarily, just for giggles, knowing it's not going to work that smoothly, more than likely, because of the fact that it's so dirty. Speaking of dirt, I'm going to wash my hands before I get my paint job any dirtier. So that's how this is supposed to work. You can imagine as I'm doing that, simultaneously on the other side there'll be another one doing that. And of course this isn't supported from the top like it's supposed to be, and there's no lubrication on here whatsoever, so that actually is not working that bad considering all of that.